This is what you might find in an ordinary forest, but this is what you could encounter deep in the Appalachian Mountains. For generations, these mountains have been linked to disturbing stories about strange creatures, unexplained voices, and people living far from civilization. And that is exactly what you're about to see today. From alleged feral people watching from the trees to terrifying figures appearing outside isolated homes, every case becomes more unsettling than the last. We'll begin with the least disturbing video and work our way toward the most terrifying one of all. Are you ready? Let's begin. Number 10. This video was recorded from the upper floor of a building overlooking a dense forest. The person behind the camera sounds completely terrified after realizing that something among the trees appears to be watching them. But take a closer look at what is hiding in the darkness.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that in the woods? Hello? Hello?
At first, many skeptical viewers might assume that it is simply an animal. However, the elevated position of the camera makes the figure seem much larger than it initially appears, since the footage seems to have been recorded from a second or third floor window. Even so, its possible size is not the most disturbing detail. What truly stands out is the pair of intense red eyes shining through the darkness. And even though this footage is genuinely strange, believe me, compared to everything you're about to see today, this is the least disturbing case. Number 9. At this point, the tension rises just a little. For this next case, we have to go back to 2005, when a hiker was making his way along a remote trail in the Appalachian Mountains and encountered someone standing deep in the woods. Take a look.
Hiker stumbles upon Appalachian Man, February 2005.
Hello?
The figure could simply be an ordinary man who happened to be in the area. However, stories from the Appalachian Mountains often mention so-called mountain people, sometimes also referred to as feral people. This is not an official term. It is a popular name given to supposed isolated inhabitants who live deep in the forest, far from nearby towns, and are often described as behaving strangely or even aggressively. In many of these stories, they remain silent, watch strangers from a distance, and know the terrain extremely well, almost as though they are protecting something hidden within the mountains. Some believe these accounts are only about extremely isolated communities. Others suspect there may be something far more disturbing behind them. Watching someone like this from a safe distance might not seem too terrifying, but in the next case, things get much more intense. Number 8. In this video, a hiker was walking along a trail in the Appalachian Mountains when he crossed paths with an elderly stranger. At first, it seemed like a completely ordinary encounter, but a few seconds later, the situation took a very strange turn.
Don't step off the trail.
The elderly man told the hiker not to leave the trail, one of the most important rules to follow in a remote wilderness area. Straying from a marked path can quickly lead to dangerous terrain or make it extremely difficult to find the way back. But when the hiker turned around to look at him again, there was no sign of the man anywhere. He seemed to have disappeared without making a sound. Perhaps he simply walked away through an area hidden from view. Still, the timing of his message has led to some viewers to believe that he appeared there for a reason. Could this stranger have been some kind of guardian, there only to stop the hiker from making a dangerous mistake? Luckily, this happened in broad daylight, because in the next case, you'll see why wandering through the Appalachian Mountains after dark can be a very bad idea. Number 7. Going outside after dark in the Appalachian Mountains is often described as one of the worst mistakes you can make. In this video, a person was moving a golf cart near their home with their pet when something from deep inside the woods suddenly caught their attention. Listen carefully.
You alright?
The scream sounds disturbingly human, which is why the person immediately called out to ask if someone needed help. However, nothing can be seen among the trees, making it impossible to know what produced it. Some wild animals can make cries that are easily mistaken for a person screaming, especially at night. But according to Appalachian folklore, responding to a voice or cry coming from the darkness is exactly what you should never do. The stories claim that if something in the woods sounds human but cannot be seen, the safest thing is to ignore it and go back inside. Because if you don't, you might end up face to face with something like what appears in the next case.
You alright?
Number 6. We've reached number 6, and this is where the list begins to take a darker turn. Few things could be more terrifying than realizing you may not be safe even inside your own home. This family has several security cameras positioned around their property in the Appalachian Mountains. And one night, one of those cameras captured something wandering nearby.
What the heck? No.
That's not a code. That's a fucking person.
Where's the dog? Well, you better go now.
The figure has a strangely humanoid appearance, although the darkness makes it impossible to identify with certainty. There is another detail that makes the situation even more disturbing. The family says they had no idea where their dog was, and despite something moving around the property, it never barked. The only animal they could hear was a rooster crowing somewhere in the distance. Even worse, whatever was outside did not remain far from the house. It eventually came much closer. Honestly, footage like this is enough to make anyone think twice before leaving a door or window open at night in the Appalachian Mountains. But this case was far from over. A few days later, one of the cameras was activated again. This time, something completely different appeared.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. The rooster's not too happy. Where's the dog? There's the dog. Why is she in her freaking pen? What the?
A dark shape seems to move directly toward the camera. It could be a shadow, an insect passing extremely close to the lens, or even an object that was thrown through the air. Unfortunately, this recording is too unclear to determine exactly what caused it. On its own, that clip might be easy to dismiss. But only 1 hour later, the same family captured something even harder to explain. Like the previous shape, This one appears to pass directly in front of the camera like a moving shadow, without revealing any clear physical form. It may still have a normal explanation caused by something close to the lens, but after the humanoid figure, the silence of the missing dog, and two strange recordings captured only days later, it is understandable why this family believes something unusual is surrounding their home. Apparently, strange creatures and terrifying screams are not the only things people claim to encounter in the Appalachian Mountains. Sometimes, the cameras capture something that seems far more paranormal. Number 5. The next video may not look as shocking as the previous one, but what makes it more frightening is how easily something like this could happen to anyone. Just look at what this homeowner discovered outside.
Yovi, you moved into a house in the Appalachian Mountains and woke up to this the next morning.
According to Appalachian folklore, doors and windows should always be covered once darkness falls. In this case, that rule was ignored, allowing the person outside to see directly into the house. Fortunately, the homeowner did not encounter the stranger while they were still outside, because judging by how long this person remained there watching, it is difficult to believe that staring through the window was all they intended to do. Number 4. We've reached number 4, and this video combines two of the worst things you could ever encounter outside your own home: a complete stranger, and the feeling that there is something deeply wrong with them. Just watch this. The stranger appears to be asking to be let inside, but instead of speaking normally, her voice sounds more like a low growl. What makes the encounter even more unsettling is their behavior. They do not seem frightened, confused, or in need of help. Instead, there is something strangely unnatural about the way they communicate. It could simply be a disturbed or aggressive person trying to intimidate whoever was inside. But this is exactly why stories about so-called feral people are so disturbing. They are often described as looking human while behaving as though they are not entirely part of society. And some of the darkest stories suggest that these people may not simply be hiding in the woods. They may be keeping others there with them. Number 3. If you thought the last video was disturbing, this one makes the situation feel even worse. According to the person recording, the figure in this footage is not a stranger. It is their own neighbor. And this is what they allegedly caught him doing on their property. The person who shared the video wrote that they had several recordings of their neighbor crawling on all fours around the property. They also claimed that when they contacted the sheriff's office, they were essentially told there was little they could do and that they would have to deal with the situation themselves. There is no additional information explaining why the neighbor was behaving this way. But knowing that this was allegedly someone who lived nearby and can return at any moment makes the footage far more disturbing. Number 2. We're just one case away from number 1. And this next video shows why the final spots are on a completely different level. The person recording had gone into the woods with his cousin in the middle of the night, thinking it would be a fun adventure. But while standing near a bridge, they heard something coming from below them. Instead of leaving, they decided to investigate.
Dude,
Just wait.
did you hear that? You didn't hear that. There's something under there. Bro. Dude, please don't go down there. Oh my gosh. Dude, hold on. Let me go first.
According to the person who uploaded the footage, the sound came from underneath the bridge. The two of them climbed down to see what was there, a decision they immediately regretted. It is difficult to identify the figure clearly in the darkness, but the person recording was convinced that it was not human. Fortunately, both of them made it out safely. They even returned to the same location later, but whatever they had encountered was no longer there. There is no confirmation of what was hiding beneath the bridge, but willingly approaching an unknown growl in the middle of the night is exactly how a harmless adventure can turn into something much more dangerous. Number 1. We finally reached number 1, the most terrifying video on today's list. In the Appalachian Mountains, strange creatures are not the only thing you need to fear. Sometimes, the greatest danger may come from another person. This young woman was recording a quick video for her father after finishing feeding her calf inside a barn. Everything seemed completely normal until she realized she was not alone. Watch what happens next.
Fed and feisty. What are you doing, baby? Okay, so I fed her. I will feed the barn. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. Stop!
Only a few feet away from her, a strange person was standing completely still, facing one of the corners of the barn. They did not appear to be a neighbor or someone who had simply stopped by, and fortunately, they did not immediately move toward her. The woman used that brief opportunity to escape and reach her vehicle, but this is where the situation became even harder to explain. The car refused to start. The interior light suddenly went out, and moments later, someone or something began striking the outside of the vehicle. After several terrifying minutes, she finally stepped outside and found what appeared to be her house keys behind the car. They were probably not the keys needed to start the vehicle, since it appears to use a modern push-button ignition. That raises an even more disturbing possibility. Had someone taken the keys from her without her noticing and deliberately left them there? There is no confirmation of who the person inside the barn was, why they were facing the corner, or what was hidden in the vehicle outside. But the combination of a stranger appearing only feet away, the car suddenly failing and the keys turning up behind it makes this easily the most unsettling case on the list. I don't know about you, but this footage gave me chills, and there was no better video to place at number 1. Now I want to hear your ranking. Leave your own order in the comments and tell me which case disturbed you the most. And before you leave, there's another challenge waiting for you. Watch the next video and try to make it all the way to the end without getting scared, because the moment you do, you lose.